I'm Rick.
I'm Sarah.
And we are
Above the Dash.
Well, I think they got the tower fixed, so we're not going to be all crazy like we were last week or the other day. So, what did you have your friend? What did she do? Your friend's daughter or whatever, the player on your team? There was a tower down,
What?
so nobody had internet in Orange City or parts of DeBerry. So, what did she do? She went to get her license or something?
Oh, Belle.
What happened?
She went and passed her license to get her driver's license because she was 16. And the internet was down, so she couldn't get her license.
Yeah, the whole corridor of Orange City, the internet was down. That's why we were having our technical difficulties there. But we're back! And saw an article today from Barbara Corcoran, New York real estate mogul. And I'm sure you know her show, what's that show called? Shark Tank. She's one of the sharks on Shark Tank. But she wrote an article on according to her, I don't know if she wrote it, but according to her, 4 mistakes that first-time home buyers make. So we see these all the time, and we just thought we would pass this on so you can try and avoid them. So what's the first one?
Not accounting for closing costs.
Yeah, first-time home buyers think, oh, get an FHA loan, it's 3.5% down, right? So they're like, well, I got that, 3.5% down, $200,000 house, I got $6,000. But then all of a sudden, you find out that you have to pay for closing costs. You have to record your deed. There's all kinds of different closing costs. There's the loan has points on it, and then there's fees, government fees, regulations, fee after fee after fee after fee. And all of that comes from and is part of your closing costs. So how can you get around that if you're a first-time home buyer and you don't have a lot of money for closing costs?
You put it in your offer and ask for them to credit it.
Yeah, we can always ask the seller to pay your closing costs. There's a new Fannie Mae loan, home loan that's 3% down, as long as you have decent credit. So you can go as far as 3% down, and then get the sellers to pay your closing costs, and voila, problem solved. What's number 2?
Stuck. Not checking your
Stuck
credit.
with your seatbelt?
Yes.
All right, here, we're stopped. Go ahead and unlock
Not checking your credit score.
it. Not? You know, unlock it.
I can unlock it when we're driving.
Okay. On TV, you're going to be recorded, dude. Not checking what?
Your credit score.
All right, not checking your credit score. That is obviously very important. The first thing you should do, which is the next one, I'm not going to skip to it, but you obviously have to check your credit score. You have to know what your credit score is, because the better your credit score, the better the rate you're going to get, the lower your payment. Or you may not even be able to buy at all if your credit score is too low. So make sure that you know and monitor your credit score. I mean, there's all kinds of services out there, like Credit Karma. If you have a Discover card, they do it for free. But there's all kinds of services out there that will monitor your credit score. So you should always be keeping track of that anyway. But make sure you know your credit score going into a purchase.
Okay, number 3 is falling in love with the house instead of the block.
A little bit of a touchy subject for a realtor, but we suggest that when you do find a house, that you come back and drive the neighborhood in the morning, drive it in the afternoon, drive it on Friday night, drive it on the weekend, and get to know what is going on in the neighborhood. We're not one to judge on whether you like that neighborhood or not. That's up to you whether you like the neighborhood or not. But we can't really have a comment on what the neighborhood is. Is this a good neighborhood? Well, I don't know. It might be a good neighborhood for me. May not be a good neighborhood for you. I might want a neighborhood where we have parties all the time and rock bands and stuff like that. You may want a nice, quiet, peaceful neighborhood. So we can't judge that. So you need to judge the neighborhood. But you need to make sure you know the neighborhood. Don't go into it with blinders. Because you know what? If you put those blinders on, by the time you get ready, by a year later after you've moved into the place, you're just not going to be happy. You'll be calling us back and trying to sell it again.
All right, and last is not getting pre-approved for a mortgage.
which is where I was going with number 2, but I didn't want to jump ahead. You always want to be pre-approved for the mortgage. Boy, how many times do we have a buyer contact us and they're looking at this $280,000 house and they love it, and of course it's beautiful, it has everything they want, but they only qualify for $220,000. Well, from that point on, nothing will ever measure up to that property. So you want to get pre-approved for a number of reasons. Number 1, you want to make sure, A, that you can even buy. B, that you can actually afford what you can actually afford. And C, so that when you are ready to make an offer, you don't have to have that process slow it down. Because a lot of times what will happen is you don't have that, a lot of times what will happen is you don't have the pre-approval if it's a hot market, especially for a first-time home buyer, because you're in competitive markets usually. So you'll not have your pre-approval ready and someone else will, and they'll just beat you to the property, and then you miss out on the one that you love. So get pre-approved in advance. And of course we have in-house lender, me, who can do that for you. So I can do that usually within an hour or so too. So it's not really a long process. You apply online, and we figure out what you can afford, and then we take you out, and hey, within 24 hours, if you got the house that you like, you can all of a sudden be under contract, and within somewhere between 30 and 60 days, you can be a homeowner. It is really that simple. There's a lot of steps along the way, and that's why you need a professional, but it's really, that's what the process involves. There's no need to be afraid of it, and more of you out there qualify than you think. A lot of people we find, they're like, how many times have you said to somebody and they're like, I can buy a house, and next thing you know, boom, they're buying a house. A lot of renters tell us that. We're like, well, why are you renting? Why don't you buy? And they're like, well, I didn't even know I could. Okay? So the first thing to do is call one of our team, 386-866-1007. Give us a call. Let us get you qualified. Even if you don't qualify, we can let you know what you will need to do to get qualified. And usually that takes 6 months to a year to turn something like that around. So again, sure, a lot of police are driving around today. 386-866-1007. Give us a call, shoot us a text. Our team will be happy to assist you.
Don't forget to share the video.